That was good.
Okay, dog. Sorry, I cut you off for a second there because we
Hey,
started
man, it's all
flowing. I was
good.
like, you know what? Let's do this on the pod. But I was just saying how your social media is just absolutely blowing up, and you guys have influencers, period, over there. Nathaniel also, and but the talent is blowing up at the same time. It might go hand in hand. I'm not sure, but you were saying how you got started.
Yeah, so it's quite silly, yeah. So I started just because I had no more phone storage, like back at uni in 2021, really. So I just bought a camera, and started posting stuff just to like not save it, like on my iPod, right? And then like that was just it. Like the thing about socials is, um, I had no goal of taking off, right? Like really
Mhm.
no, I have just had a love for gymming since not that long, since about 2020. So that's when I was 18. So that was just a way for me to like track my progress, like store stuff. And it was only like that for like 2 years until I did my first comp for the IPF. Then people started to see me, but even then, like no one like still saw me really until like later on in late 2022. But this whole like social thing, the thing I found like great from my like regard is I didn't have the goal to like make it. Like it all happened like naturally. So like that's the annoying thing. Like when people ask me for like tips, like how to like get started, all I say is like the cliche, just like do what you normally do, like stay natural, stay like natural, like post and don't force stuff, like
Mhm.
let stuff happen naturally, and then see what happens, right? Because again, yeah, say you're trying hard to make it sure like you can increase your chance of luck, right? Because it is really a luck game at the end of the day. So I can attest to that. Like the social game is luck based to a certain extent. There are like methods to increase your chance of luck, but it is still luck really. Um, so yeah, I just started doing and like started like posting my sessions just like week in, week out. And then obviously the comp started. I had like Uni Worlds in November 2022, which was my first like outreach and comp really. I think at that competition I did 732.5 as an 83, which was back then that was like pretty cool, right? But even
Yeah.
now, like the standards are rising in powerlifting. It's amazing. Like now, that is just seen as a very good total, but back then it was amazing, right?
Well, junior too.
Yeah, for
Also,
junior
and a
too.
young junior, like with
Mhm,
more time in the juniors as well. So
mhm.
gives extra context. But
Yeah,
with yourself, okay, so I know what you mean in terms of luck. A few things that help with that. Um, and all anyone listening, I mean, you won national titles, European titles. So you've got talent as well. But in terms of luck, I know you mean where, for instance, if you arrive at a time like British powerlifting is poised to blow, like there's so many stars and the interest is high. So while people are hopping online in your nation, they find you and you're there at the right time. And it's like, oh, you're looking. I'm at the right time. If you came the wrong time when it's like the interest is lower, it's more of a struggle bus. And we've
that's it.
seen this with other nations like France, for instance, and I use France all the time, and people are like, oh, you always bringing up France. However, if you hop on that wave and surf it into the shore, you just catch the wave at the right time. There's that element of luck where like, holy shit, there's a wave coming in. I
Mhm.
could catch this. I could catch this right now. That's where timing and luck kind of plays in. But
Yeah.
the part that isn't luck that helps is a lot of these French lifters are world class. You yourself have won nationals, won internationals, and you have the look, you have like your what people do when they go to the gym, their goals. They want to be strong, jacked. You're strong, jacked. You got a unique look to you, which helps you stick out.
Thank
So and then the work ethic, etc., which is like inspirational for people. And and I don't know when you started doing this with your social media, but the way you present it, I just did a podcast with Joe Boringstein, and we talked about it briefly. But I was like, "Have you seen Joey's doing things where you'll post like in a reel, 83 kilo versus 105 kilo squat battle. And it's 30 seconds. I'm like, fuck it. Let me see who wins this. Like, you got me. You got me. And you guys are both shirtless, jacked, flex. Even the way you present it, shirtless, jacked, flexing. It's like two boxers when they're facing off and they're gonna fight the next day.
Yeah, exactly that.
And
Yeah.
they do that so that when you see it on Friday, you'll tune in Saturday to watch it. When you guys do that, it's like a sized down version of exactly that. You captured it exactly. I'm a fight fan, and you captured it exactly right. Where I'm like, oh shit, can the smaller guy do it, or whatever? You guys do this routinely, like pull ups, dead bench, whatever, and it's beautiful, dude. It's genius, and you get me every time. I'm like, fuck it, I got 30 seconds. I need to know what happens. You know,
Yeah,
how did
like
you start developing all those things?
that craze has just taken off in England. Like it's meant to like, let alone everywhere else. Like there's a bunch of like sub juniors now who love doing it. And I remember my first time doing it, like it was it weren't even meant to be like a battle. It was to compare like mine and this other one of five's leverages. Like that was because
For that
yeah.
one,
Yeah, that was the first one. CJ Lindsay. That was the first one. Not like some battle like no 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 no. And then like just the whole like idea, like, oh yeah, like a 1v1, like people saying like, oh, like one's better because of X, one's a worse because of Y. Like it gets people like talking for many reasons. And just since that first one, I just managed to do it with so many people. Like it manages to turn a not boring, but a routine deadlifts like build up from 70 to like 300. Just makes it more fun, right? Like people posting that like week in week out can get like too really competitive, right? But like to like put some fun into it can make it actually like seem more worthwhile for those 30 seconds. Um, but then yeah, just like you've there are so many more videos that you definitely missed. Like sub juniors have taken over it. Like I
really?
is like a little bit now, just because it's like so out there. And then I've seen like bears in the States as well. Like it's all over the world now. Like I won't claim like making the whole thing up, but I will definitely claim like making a little craze in England solely. Um but yeah, just the main thing is it just brings a bit more like personality or more like fun to lifting because again like people can see anyone like warming up from X to Y any like week, right? But to give her like the unboxing like thing to it, like that's funner than watching just a boring, like not boring but just a little normal regular build up, right? So it's just like
100%.
more fun to it, you know what I mean?
It's it's almost like a 40-second story. I want to know how this ends.
Yeah, it's really
How,
good.
yeah, it's very well done. Like it makes me want to watch what's going on here. How far can he go? And that's what it is, because I don't know how far you go until the end. I gotta watch it. Where does he, and even if you're gonna bow out, where does he bow out? How far can you push the big man? Or whatever the matchup might be. And the way you do it at the start, it's become like your videos where you're shirtless and flexing first. That's like a signature piece now, because boxers stare each other down, but powerlifters is a weightlifting sport. So you're
Exactly.
almost, but you guys have elements of bodybuilding in your stuff. The fact that you guys know how to pose. I noticed this too, because when you guys pose, you actually know how to. And that's like a skill in and of itself in terms of presentation. It that's what makes it blow as well. I noticed, like from a still picture to even the intro of videos, you guys full on. Like, did you just learn how to pose, or how did you get into posing? Because that's a huge
Trust
chunk.
me. My posing is not 100%. I know just like certain like angles that are decent, but like any other like high level person will call my posing like terrible. Trust me.
Oh,
I
really?
know certain poses that are like that work, but like it's like
Yeah.
free like I'm fearful. I've always said that I want that I'm allowed to like learn properly soon, but it just never comes down to it. But there's a few that just work. Yeah, yeah. Few that
Well,
work most times.
bodybuilding, like again, this is why people start weightlifting. So you can get not just the powerlifting crew to watch this, but the
Mm.
guys who go to the gym just to get more jacked. And when you start the video like that, and instead of a face off, because you guys aren't fighting like boxers, but instead of the face off, but you see them, you're both like flexing, like, oh shit. So it actually cues up, well, who do I think will win this? In most people who just general fitness go to the gym, that's what they're looking at is, well, this guy's more jacked than that guy, or this guy's clearly bigger than that guy. So is this guy going to, and you start, it's begun. The story has begun. You guys, man, you did it right. It's simple enough,
You got
but
that right.
sometimes when you hit it, sometimes when you hit it, and you've done other things like when you did do other challenges like the human flag
Mm.
challenge and stuff like that, where it's like fun, and you are like, I wonder what these national, international level powerlifters, how athletic they are and other things and other ventures.
People wonder
And you
that
guys
too.
will, yeah, it's perfect, dude. And it's tight. It's in the moment of a reel. It's not drawn out, and we get to see this. Is it like so? Anyways, before we get into this, has actually now become a thing over in Britain. Is this Britain? Is this worldwide? Because I don't know a lot of Americans doing it yet, but they're probably
I've
going
seen a
to.
good few in the States now, yeah, but just the sub-juniors, like it, there's so many. Like
Really?
it's now some norm really. Like two kids can just like make a fun video. Like kids love like to lift, right? They'll love to like just make a cool like real time video like a TikTok. Just make a quick battle, whether it's squat, bench, or deadlift. Yeah, just like the kids love it. It's mad now. It's really cool, really cool.
What do you think is going to be the differing factor? Like, because things come in waves. And if everyone's doing it, is do you need a point of differentiation? Obviously, you're an international level lifter. So then you can, and you have access to international level lifters. Like if you're at an international event, you could be there with whomever. I don't know if you whatever, and you could ask and be like, hey, let's work together. Like you could do it, you know what I mean? Like you have that advantage.
Hmm.
Um, but how do you stay ahead of the pack with this kind of stuff?
What a tough question, man. Like, I don't know. Like what you said there works. Like 100%. There's a guy called Bjorn from Germany who's a 105 junior, who I literally made a battle with, in September last year, and of course that did praise well because it's the whole like German crowd now plus England as well. So that makes it easier just for the video to work, right? But like now I've slowed down on battles just because again, like it's been done a lot by loads of like people. So I just don't want to like hammer it too much now. Um, but just it links to like the social like ethos. Like you want to find something that works, do it as much as you can that is relatively okay and not too much. Whereas so I think that I've like reached that too much bit now to like do it like week in, week out, right? Um, but then after it like falters out, you just try anything. Like, I don't know, maybe you want to test the powerlifters like muscle up, like callus stuff or anything else. Like just see what works, rinse that a bit, rotate, you know what I mean? So it's just a bit of like trial and error really, and then until finding like something that actually works well, then keep at it. So keep doing the battle a bit, right? And then do it until it falters a bit and then just switch off and change again. So it's
It
just
tunes,
it's a trial and error game, really.
it tunes into what we naturally enjoy. Like this is even happening right now in rap music, rap battles.
Oh
But
God.
or
Wow, yeah. Jesus,
dog,
yeah.
and I'm all over it. I'm all in on that. But in terms of humans love like competitiveness. That's why we love sports. That's all sports are, right? It's just teams battling or individuals battling. And in music, even it happens in terms of like the rap battle right now. Oh my God, man. All the memes and everyone's all in, like, oh, who's
Pretty much
winning? Who do
like
you,
waiting
what
for the
team are
one,
you with?
like tuning in.
Yeah, it's like the rap civil war, they're calling it. And doing that, what you did really does help tune into. I think people love battles, period. We just as humans, we're interested. If you set it up like that, you could have done it as watch me train with my friend.
Hmm.
Same thing,
Hmm.
but that's way more. All right,
Like,
cool. I'll watch you train with your friend. Or you could be watch me battle this guy. It's like, got me. Boom. Use the term battle. I'm in. Let's see what happens. So you tune in that. And then when you get in the door in a certain way and people now are following you and become like following you, now you got them. now you don't have to only do bouts. Now
Mm,
we know who you are. Now we're interested in when you're like, look, I got nationals coming up. I got, whatever events coming up. I want to follow your journey and see what's going to happen because you're going to
yeah.
battle on the platform. It's different. So you don't have to always do battles, but you got to have something to get in the door.
Mhm.
And you caught that. You caught
That's really
that. Also, your friend Nathaniel is all in too. So how close are you guys in
we
terms of
are
like
li- like
proximity?
we are like oh what he lives maybe I'm from like near London, so his house is probably like 40 minutes roughly. So it's
Mm.
quite close, yeah. Pretty close.
And how did you guys link up? Through powerlifting? You know each other before that?
Oh God. So our like meeting is like a crazy story. So I'd known who he was since like school, since I was like 18 maybe. And I met him when I was 20, when I was 22 or 21. One of the two. I think no, there. So I met him like just after I turned 21. And we had some my protein like event type thing, right? Where like we had no idea, like he had no clue on who I was, but I knew like who was from like online and whatnot. At this point, my lifting career was starting to take on, like nothing like crazy, but just like starting, right? Um, and then we had some event where we were deadlifting, and I maxed out my deadlift there on some like whippy bar and then pulled like 330. And then at that point, his best was I think like 320. So he's like, oh, this guy weighs like way less than me because I was like sub 83 there, then he was 93. He's like, oh, like this guy here like weighs way less than me. He's pulling way more than me. All right. So that was in January 2022. 2023, sorry. And then there were just a few more events where we just crossed paths again. Like there were two more. And then obviously nationals like came around where we both won our classes. Sorry, where I won my 83s, then he qualified for a Worlds too. And then Gymshark signed me in May, which he's obviously the face of Gymshark in England. Like he's their main boy. So I just
Is he
just being
really?
like yeah. Like he'd been with them for like 5 or 6 years now as an athlete. So he's the poster boy. Then like now we're the two like main powerlifters who are working with Gymshark Mel. So obviously like we have like stuff to just like link up for, right? So we met a few times. We trained loads over summer like for World Prep and just became close, you know. But meeting him honestly changed so many things, like life wise, so many things. Like I'm
Like
so
how
good to
how
him. So
so?
like he just gave me loads of opportunities. Like he featured me in one of his YouTube videos early on meeting him, and like he had no reason to do that. Like that's him being just a nice, humble guy. Um, he invited me to like a few shoots. Like he had a promotion type thing for Worlds where he got photos wearing his singlet, which he asked me to like. That's where that photo is from. That was meant to be just him. Like
Dude, I know exactly what picture you're talking
yeah,
about too.
like
Everyone does because it's such a dope picture. Like you guys
yeah,
look
I was
like
like
superheroes.
yeah, right. Like that should have been just him, but he invited me there like for no reason, like just being a like nice guy. Um, so obviously yeah, then we had Worlds and Euros, just like being at comps together, lifting, both winning Euros at the same time. You know what I mean? Just like whole friendship growing. It's cute. It's nice.
Um, well, first off, so some people have an attitude where if they see somebody close to them or they look at it like danger sometimes.
Exactly,
Like
exactly.
what you did in terms of your strength levels, he could have been felt ways like insecure about it. This is dangerous. This guy's
I've
gonna
said
try to
this
take
to
some shit.
so many people, yeah, just like not him, but like that's why I'll always like respect him so much because like someone who's like doing stuff that he does better in like some like regards where like someone could easily just like you know what I mean just like step back like watch you know what I mean but like no like, he gave me so many opportunities to like grow and help me like he's that humble you know like it's amazing
And,
it's so good.
and it actually, when you have the attitude of anyone coming up is danger. When you have that attitude, so if he was to meet you and you're deadlifting more or comparatively, even though you're smaller, you have the potential in terms of social media and look to start grabbing attention. And if he was the type of person that was like, man, this guy could cut into my market. This guy could take shine away from me and take it onto him. This guy is competition. If you had that, it would actually take away the possibility of recognizing, no, no, no. This is see something in this young man. This is a bridge. I can work with him. We're better together. We're stronger
Right.
together. Partner up, build a team, get partners in this thing. And this is actually an opportunity when you come across someone like that and you're like, ooh, this guy could be an equal. He's a little smaller, or a little younger, a little whatever it might be. This guy on the rise. When you're already on top and someone's on the rise, that's the scary part is like, is he going to unseat me? Wrong attitude. Better work with this guy. This is going to breathe new life into you, new ideas into you. Partner up, see what you could do together. And you see people, both attitudes in
Mhm.
all walks of life, my friend. And the fact that Nathaniel was like, no, 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 no. This is good. This is good. I want to bring him closer. Let's work together. And look at you guys since you're both gotten bigger.
Yeah, I'm just so grateful, man. Like the path until now has been so amazing. I'm so grateful, man. Great
It
person.
is so I didn't realize what was he doing before powerlifting then?
He was similar to me, so like he still quote unquote power lifted. Like I still trained the movements, but just trained like a normal gym bro as well. So I would like chest day maybe I'd bench a like ton right and then just do every machine at the gym. Nate was also a like you Super Mainer like he still is, but he had like videos where he could just do like anything fitness wise, like not
Mm.
just gym, like just like life stuff. Um, so yeah, it's only after nationals last year that we both said, hey, like we're both that level like powerlifting that let's actually like focus because Nate has like trained since he was 14, 14. I started at 18. So like he had years, but he didn't know like just how good he was until Nats really. Because he's been like pulling like crazy numbers in the deadlift for years. Like he pulled, I think like 260 at 16 maybe. But then he's now pulling 350 at 20 or 21, right? Like so just like once we both like realize now that we can just go to like one crazy level for powerlifting and then obviously like the brands like Gymshark see that as well. It's like they are trying to get more involved in like the lifting aspect too. Like then we just choose to take it like to that and that next level. But we've turned from just like normal like gym bros to people who just appreciate just the powerlifting life and just like that journey way more now,
Can you
which is really
imagine you guys? Can you imagine you guys didn't choose powerlifting? Like it's
cool.
you know, uh, yeah. I mean, it's huge, and you guys ended up being as good as you are, making national teams, etc. So, you said 18. You were lifting before 18, though, right?
No, not at all. No.
Really? It's
I
crazy
was still running.
progress.
Yeah, these my ages 13 to 18 was sprinting. So just solely running.
And what kind of training did you didn't do strength training necessarily for
No,
sprinting?
no, just track. Just track is mad. Just track.
Oh, dude,
Had
I'm shocked.
had like these power cleans, these hand cleans, I had no idea about them. No idea. I thought just running, you just ran. You did your
No,
like interval training,
dude.
you ran only. It's mad.
And because I'm kind of into track, like I not like powerlifting per se, but some of these dudes are jacked. Some of those
Yeah,
track
yeah,
guys
yeah.
are
Oh.
absolutely jacked. Um, so for how competitive were you in track? Was it 100 meter?
Yeah, so I was best at 200 meters and I was a regional champion. So that's very good. Very good. Like my sister was the one who like ran like for the team England, but I just ran like high level like in England. So that was really like I loved running like so much that I played like football and rugby solely to run. Like so like as the running part had my whole life like sport wise just taken over for about 5 years. And I only like stopped really because of COVID. Like I still like miss it now, but now I just can't imagine like trying to like do it with lifting, right?
Dude, okay, so I remember there's a video of all these athletes did the 100 meter. First off, the 100 meter is something that's like so celebrated. Even people who are so about the Olympics will watch the 100 meter finals
Yeah,
because you
definitely.
got to know who's the fastest man in the world, fastest woman in the world. And I remember a video going out with Pele, Wayne Gretzky, all these, this is like in the 80s, but all these greats from these different sports. A basketball player, I forget which one, was in there, but a bunch of like greats from all these different sports raced the 100 meter to be like, who's going to win this? Oh, Sugar Ray Leonard was in there, the boxer. So, anyways, my man, if you actually raced a couple dudes in powerlifting, I would love to see who's actually faster
You
and
know,
would win.
the funny thing is there's a sports day in 13 days that like there's a like fitness event on that I could run at, but I'm just too nervous because I have a comp in 2 months or 3 months. No, yeah, 2.5 months. Like I could do it, but I'm like my knees haven't like battled 100 meters in years. Like that force output just is
Yeah.
so right. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Like, can you imagine you challenging, like, guy can't be too heavy because it would impede him, but like 100 meters is easier for any challenge
Yeah.
match. It's 10 seconds roughly around, right? So people like, yeah, whatever, I got 10 seconds. But you know how entertaining that 10 seconds is where you're like, you know how to set it up. And if you go toe to toe with some well-known people,
You're
it'd
making
be
me
interesting.
want to do it, man. Yeah.
It'd be interesting. Like, in terms of those
Definitely.
challenge videos, even like getting some women involved or whoever, it would be like, who do you think is faster? Who do you
Mm.
think is quicker out those blocks? You won't, I don't know if for these videos you necessarily even have blocks or how you do it, whatever. You guys can work it out, but I would love to see. I don't know. I don't know who's quick, dude.
Potentially find out in 2 weeks. Now you're saying this. Watch the space in 2 weeks. We'll see about it. 2 weeks.
Dude, it'd be amazing. And
That
I
could be
hope there's
crazy,
some,
yeah.
yeah, it'd be cool to see. And you might get some surprises with like everyone loves when if you catch a big man who can run. That's why the football NFL combine is so big. We're like, did you they have 300-pound guys with crazy speeds?
Yeah, it's mad.
Um, yeah, so we'll see. I don't know, dude. I'm just throwing
Yeah,
this out there, but
potentially 2 weeks. Just wait me. We'll see. We'll see.
so do you watch the Olympics? Do you
Oh
watch
yeah,
like
yeah.
track
Oh
and the
yeah.
whole line? Okay.
Yeah, track. I watched most Diamond League meets still.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
seriously. Yeah. I'm
Dude,
still like
when
pretty
you
into
were when you were young, was that the sport that you were into the most, is track?
it. Yes, it was between that and football. Like that, like just like watching. Like I didn't like want to be like a high level runner, but just I enjoyed watching it. Yeah,
Who were the guys that you looked up to the most when you were getting into track?
my
Before,
idol was probably Johan Blake and
oh, really?
Harry. Yeah, like because those two were just rapping and looked like Akins. Like he looks insane. Have you seen him?
I'm
Harry
gonna
Akins
Google him
and
right now.
Harry.
What's his name? Harry?
Harry, then Aikines, Akins, Ariuti. He is the most
Okay.
like just like yeah, like look, it's mental, mental,
Oh yeah, he's teaming. Oh, fine. He's team all body for sure. Holy shit,
right? And then like he's rapid as well. Like these runners who look insane and are like rapid. Like I love that.
dog! I can't. This dude is fucking jacked.
It's
He looks like
insane.
a power.
It,
This
it
dude looks
it's
like Russell Orhe out here. Holy
it's insane. Yeah,
shit, dude! It
you know.
looks. Well, I'm surprised you were. That's why I was saying when you said you were sprinting but not lifting, because I know sprinters. He's from Britain too, huh? Dude, he
Mhm.
he is impossibly jacked. Oh my gosh! But yeah, how good was he?
Yeah, he was like one of like top three males like at his peak, which ran for a few years. Um, like I think in I don't know 2016, 2017 days, like he was like the top. Like he was always in the GB relay team, so like always in like the top five. but like only like the top two make the like single like track team, right? But he's always like one of the top. Like he won the Commonwealth Games for the 100 meters, I'm pretty sure, in a recent
Uh,
time.
let's take a look here. So I have at the World Championships in Berlin, the relay team got bronze. European Championships, three golds. That was 2009 in Berlin. He won the World Championships on the relay team. The British did. In the 100-meter, bronze in European Championships, 214. World relays, a bunch of bronze. Commonwealth Games, okay.
Tell
Gold,
me.
gold. These are relays. Silver in relay. Let me see what his 100-meter best, 10.08.
Yeah, like
He's
at
good.
that, yeah, at that shape is mental. Like it's mental.
It's
It's all about
because
power, you know.
isn't there like a certain physique that works best for 100 meters?
100%. And that's definitely not what he has. Definitely not. I don't even think that Usain's Bolt is like the best one. I can't think of like who has it, but like there is one, yeah, like there's a prime like optimal shape, 100%.
Well, because so I've read some I love reading autobiographies by athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And Usain Bolt actually was so 6'5",
Mm-hmm.
super tall for 100 meters. In Jamaica, which like their track team is legendary, so they know what they're doing. And they told him, "Look at 6'5", you're not going to unravel in time in 100 meters. You need a longer distance at 6'5" to start unraveling in time. These shorter guys, it's actually to their benefit because
Mm-hmm.
they can unravel their legs and hit top speed within that 100 meters. You got 10 seconds roughly to get your top speed and get it going. And they're like, at 6'5", man, it's not going to work for you. 200 meters is your race. And he was doing 200 meters, but he knew the world's fastest man is always dubbed in a 100-meter race. And that's the rock star event of track in the Olympics, worlds, whatever. So he forced himself into the 100-meter and worked super hard and ended up beating guys, Johan Blake. And, I'm surprised you said Blake because he was like the number two behind Usain. If Usain never came around, Blake would probably have like a reign of dominance.
Yeah.
And one year he won because Usain didn't I think he did a bunch of false starts and got
Yeah,
ejected from
I
it.
remember. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A blue track meet. I remember it.
And then Blake won. And I mean, he was phenomenal as well. Was it because what was it about Blake that made you gravitate towards him?
I just loved like his look, like his shape, like his speed, right? But he just looked cool to me. Um, yeah, just cool and nice, you know?
He yeah, I mean, because
Like
he's
yeah,
how how
he had a cool like look to him.
well, I mean, he's jacked, definitely shorter than Usain. Usain Bolt though had charisma. The way he hit he had that pose. I don't know what it's called, the
Oh yeah.
Thunderbolt pose. And it was like Thunderbolt, and like he was very well marketed and packaged. Blake could have been the man if Usain Bolt wasn't around, but I know what you mean because Blake was jacked. He had the dreads or didn't he, or
Yeah,
cornrows or
like really
whatever, and it
cool.
was
Yeah, just a cool look. Yeah, yeah. Forward
pulled
kidding.
back, and when he ran, yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And the 100 meters, it's a rock star event as well, man. I would be it would be crazy to see you do like racing it. How fast is Nathaniel?
I might have no idea, no idea, no idea. But like
We about to find out.
he's there too. Yeah, he's there as well. He's there. All of the England like all of timers are there. Like the top level like lifters and whatnot. Like they're all there. So we'll find
How
out
much?
literally in 2 weeks.
So what was the training like? No shit, they're all there at this event,
And they're
dog.
all there. Yeah, that like that's
What
why
about
like
Listus? What
she's
about
there as well.
Listus?
She's there as well. Yeah, like
Oh my god,
everyone's there.
dude.
Everyone's
Dude, I
there.
want to see what she could do. 'Cause she is also physically speaking, like nobody I've ever met in my life, dude. I met her at Silent Worker in France, and online you could tell, okay, she's jacked, she's physically extremely gifted. Like I'm talking 1% of 1%. you know, in terms of that. And but when you so you see this in the video and you don't fully understand until you meet her in real life how humbling it is to be like, oh, there's levels to this. Oh, there's levels to this, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel good about yourself until you meet someone like Lissus and be like, I ain't shit. Like,
It's
like there's people like her walking around.
mad. Yeah, it's mad.
That's where I think it's intriguing. The reason why the 100 meters, for instance, because it's like some people say the pinnacle of athleticism. You know, there's running, racing, and strength, just in a nutshell. And that's where I think people would be intrigued. How athletic are our guys and girls from our sport? Like, how do they stack up? Because for a little while there, generations previous, people would rag on powerlifters like they're not athletic, like fast
Yeah,
or
100%. Yeah,
slow,
big time. Yeah,
slow moving, slow twitch, whatever. We're slow lifts. We're not like Olympic lifting. And the intrigue would be like, do we have athletes, like 1% A level athletes that could jump in other sports and be like, no, take a look at this. And that's where I would be very interested in seeing with some of our best bright young stars. And there's track. Is it a young person's sport or is it do people last into their 30s?
great question. So it's a little weird because something like football, right, or soccer, um, kids start at a young age, right? Then like they can like keep going till like they're old, right? But I feel like the issue with track and field and the reason that I stopped doing it, like mainly like plus COVID, was because in England, at least once you're not like at the top, it's just a bit of a waste of time. Like if you look at like gymming or training or powerlifting, like it's UVU still. Like, yeah, like running wise, you're getting a better time, maybe, right? But like the gym, like you're getting stronger, you're looking better, like you're gaining a lot of stuff about like from training, right? Whereas like for instance, like you're getting faster or getting fitter, but no one can really like see that, right? Like you getting a lot more stuff life wise from gymming or powerlifting rather than track. So I reckon once you turn about age like 20, then you start saying like, all right, like you're wasting time doing like the track training. Um, but in the terms of people who actually like running, I'm pretty sure like people's peak for track and field is 27 or 28.
That's a
Like
tight
that
window,
to
man.
low 30s, like that. 27 to about 32 is their peak. And then obviously like
Because
it just like folders up again.
it's all like explosive. Like for instance, other sports like football or we call it soccer over here in North America or like whatever, basketball, hockey. There's they call it like hockey IQ, football IQ, like American football IQ, or like for instance, Wayne Gretzky I was talking about earlier, who's like one of the greats in hockey. His dad made him when he was a child watch a hockey game, and with a pen, he had like the rink written out on a whiteboard that you with a marker, right? And he said, "I want you to grab this marker and dot where the puck ends up while you're watching this game, over and over and over and over and over and over and over, just so he knows where the puck ends up." And he goes, "Now look at your whiteboard," and he could see it and be like, this is where you have these are the points where you have to be reading the play. And this is obviously valuable in all the sports I just said, whether it's basketball, soccer, hockey, whatever the heck. There's that IQ of it, knowing the game, reading the play, and being where you got to be. So even when as you age and you're a little slower, you're a little, all these things, you end up where you need to be at the right time. You could read plays and you could extend your career.
Def-
Whereas track, it's like, guess what, man?
Lost that power, you God, yeah.
Yeah, it's there or it's not. There's no helping you. It's whatever. Good. You could be a coach, but you're not going to keep going. So it's
Definitely.
difficult. That's why a guy like Usain Bolt was special that he won so many Olympic games. In previous generations, like I mentioned it previously on the podcast, like Donovan Bailey,
Hmm.
their primes, you win one worlds in if your prime happened to hit during an Olympic cycle, amazing because that's 4 years. But so many guys and girls will come and go in between there and never get there. And he just happened to peak like 2 years, bro. 95, 96. He won the 95 Worlds in 96 Olympics. Gone after that, though. Like the prime is so tight in that sport. It's tough.
Oh, yeah, yeah, bless them. It's annoying.
It's a dude, especially if you take a sport like this. Whereas on the flip side, powerlifting people, I don't know. What do you think about this? Is powerlifting, because previous stats would show that people peak later in powerlifting and also last longer in powerlifting. And now we're starting to see people peaking sooner. I don't know if people are peaking sooner so much as people are finding powerlifting sooner. I think the human body necessarily with training and all that, I don't know if something's changed so much as people are younger finding the sport and they always would have peaked sooner. And if the old guard will get pushed out more in powerlifting, it'll become more brutal like other sports. Whereas previously, so much fewer people would find powerlifting that you could survive longer in it because the talent pool is more shallow. That's what I think. And people are trying to crunch numbers like, what does this mean? What are we doing
Yeah,
sports science wise? I'm like, I
yeah,
don't think none of that. I just think we're growing into a real mature sport now. That's what's happening.
yeah. Yeah, like people like Nonso, who's as young as he is, are like battling the senior like team, right? Even like someone like Durans, I had no idea how old he was. He's like mid-30s, right?
Yeah.
Durans, who's also like at the top of the 83s were like on paper, right? But like there's now Ade who's much younger. There's Russ who's much younger. He's very much like rivaling. Like there's so many factors like genes, like once like when they started training, this they found that they started to train it because like again, say I started training to a high standard at 18 rather than like late 20, I would be a very like separate point now, right? Like there's
Mm.
two factors to just attribute it to to one thing. Obviously, like there are just crazy like outliers, like people like Nonso, who was just a crazy gene freak. But there's so many factors like that's hard to actually like to pin down to one thing. Like there's so many factors because again like there's Tony and what's his name again? The other GB 120 plus 120, sorry.
Indy.
India, no, they've been training for long times, right? Like long times. Whereas Nonso has been training like properly for a few years and is already at that level, right? Like there's so many reasons why. So many reasons.
I met Nanzo at the 2022 Junior Worlds. He was a sub junior, and I remember he was like just getting going. I think he was 17, and I was with Gavin, and Gavin was co-commentary with me, Gavin Aiden, and we were chilling by the event room, and Nanzo was checking out, I think the schedule or something, and I introduced myself, and Gavin introduced himself, and he had no idea who we were. And then he looked online like King of the Lifts and Gavin Aiden, and he's like, "Holy shit!" And he was like, but he had no idea who was who in powerlifting, what was going on yet. He was so fresh, and in a it's not even 2 years later, in a very short period of time you look at him now, and he's looked like from boy to man in 2 years. Like he was so much smaller. You know, obviously, most people from 17 to 19, you could do a lot of growth, but he's been smashing weights. His progress has been phenomenal, man. I when we had Rondell on, Rondell was like, that's I asked him, who do you think is on the come up that you would have to worry about? Because Rondell is so ahead of the pack right now. And he's like, to be honest, like obviously Bob could be a threat. Keep me honest, but I think Bob's too small. I think he'd be better served as a 105 and a phenomenal 105. That's a whole nother discussion. We could talk about that in a minute. But he's like, in terms of the 120s, true 120s, he's like, I think Nanzo
That's
in
crazy.
Britain is the dude. And he's already keeping an eye on because Rondell's in his 20s himself. So Rondell's like, I'm going to be around and Nanzo's going to hit his prime and we're going to clash. Dude, I don't even know.
No
I
one
don't
knows.
even know.
Yeah,
It's going to be crazy, man. I
crazy shit.
can't wait for Rondell to come back and those dudes to clash.
He's back next year, right? Or
So
the
yeah, he'll be back next year, but we already started the hype train on a mock meet. we're gonna sort this out, and we're gonna bring him back, and he needs to make a powerful statement because if you look at his numbers compared to the rest of the 120s, he's so far ahead. And right now, currently in the King of the Lifts page, I posted up who are the kings of powerlifting. And first off, I opened the question up, and people are saying the usual suspects, like who is the king? Because Rondell came on the podcast and was like, "Man, it's me. I'm the king." And people are saying who you'd expect: Perk, Jesus, John Hack, and Rondell. Okay, cool. Now I posted up vote. So it's a poll, and
Hmm.
I want people to tell me who you guys think. Right now, as we speak, Perk and John Hack are like neck and neck, and Rondell's fallen quite a bit behind. Same with Jesus. But if you look at the numbers, I've had a couple people jump in my DMs and say, nobody's done to the rest of the field in the tested, anyways. Put John Hack aside for a second. Perk hasn't done to the 74s what Rondell has done to the 120s. Just not getting his love and his flowers because he can't compete. He's
Exactly.
like suspended and like he's not getting the shine he deserves, man. We got to rectify this and put together an event. Guys like you have helped shown you can utilize social media to create things and make moments happen. And I was telling Rondell, dude, whether or not it's official, you don't have officials there, but you could do 3 lifts. You could do a stream. You could do commentary. You could do all these things. Don't have officials, but you're what?
It's
What's that?
it's
Sorry.
yeah, like the people would still love it like equally as much. Like more hype, right? For next year.
And you have more control over yeah. In
Yeah.
the commentators, I told them like I'll commentate, like I do Worlds in Sheffield, like I'll commentate to give it the feel of a normal, like high level meet. And one of the commentators can be an official. He's
Hmm.
not sitting there officiating, so he's not going against the rules. He's a commentator, and he could say that was depth or
Hmm.
that was high, and you still get the same feel for anyone watching in the post. And if he sets an ambitious goal to declare himself king, you set the goal. What is it? 1,100 kilos? Is it you beat everyone in the untested as well as tested? Is it what is it? You set that
1100.
goal.
Imagine that.
What's that? Sorry,
1100's crazy. God,
insane,
it's insane.
insane. And that's just like all the other 120s are dying to get to 1,000 kilos. If he does
Yeah.
1,100, he's stunting on them. And then you do something like that with the proper, social media push. The stream looks lovely. You're on a platform. You can do an SBDD on a platform, even if it's not sanctioned. Why not?
Hmm.
Whatever background you want. And then you make your statement. Then let's see who's calling you king and who's calling you not the king of powerlifting. It's all about presentation and making your mark. Even Rondell talking about this on the podcast. That podcast is blowing up, but it's you can get shoved aside if you don't. In powerlifting, you have to be your own PR agent. You have to be your own. If you don't put yourself out there, no one else is gonna.
I will do it for you. Yeah.
You got to save your damn self. And talking about outliers, so and you've done video on this actually. That I saw you and Nathaniel talking about it. People saying so. There's both is true. People telling you guys, well, you guys have genetics, and that's why. And you're like, you're not with me when I'm 3 hours in the gym, though, huh? And how many people do you know are 3 hours at it lifting weights? At
Minimal,
the
minimal. Like that little. It's mad.
and so I want to get into that, how often you get that. But what we're watching, what people lose scope of, isn't that it's not denying outliers exist, like genetics exist. Like for instance, there's this one guy who fought in the UFC. His name is Yoel Romero, and he got a crushed orbital bone and had to go to a doctor. And he got like in his 40s is jacked ripped still. And when he was 19, he's at the World Championships of Wrestling and was jacked ripped. He's been jacked ripped his whole life. Okay. But he
Hmm.
obviously trained super hard. He went to the doctor, and the doctor had to cut around and reconstruct. And the doctor called up Dana White, the president of the UFC, and was like, what the fuck is this guy's story? And Dana White's like, what do you mean? And the guy goes, I've never seen anybody with the structure this man has. The amount of muscle tissue is it just around his face was literally it's insane. Like this man is so when they were working on him, trying to put his body back together, they said the amount of muscle fibers and thickness and everything was, I've never seen anything like this. This procedure took 3 times as long. It was so much harder because he was, and they're like, I've never, in all of my years of practitioner. So there are freaks like that walking around. But to not dismiss, when you get to the international level, it's only freaks. And Gavin Aiden one time said, I want to find out who's the biggest outlier of all the outliers when he's going into worlds. And that's the point where it's like, not denying that there's outliers where people are like, what are you saying? Genetics aren't a part? No, they're a part. But my friend, at a certain level, they're all genetic freaks. So now it's who, so it still is who works harder. It's both. What people need to see, it's not combating one another. Yes, genetic freaks, but yes, have to work hard to beat the other genetic freaks.
Definitely. Like, yeah, like that point there, that video there, just like people can't seem to see that like that there's both because so people ask me a lot about my training split, right? So I train 4 days a week. And then people are like, oh, what? Like not six, not seven. But then I'm like, no, but those 4 days a week, I'm in the gym. Like nowadays, like now that I just have a lot more like time, I'm training for at least like 3.5 hours every single session. Like if no, not four, seriously. The funny thing is
Oh my God.
a lot of time is actually spent like filming stuff. Like it definitely is. But so that's 4 hours like every single time. And watching me train, like I'd love to just feel more of that because my actual like sessions like outside of the compounds, like I train hard. Like I like to think that I train very similar to Rondell. Sorry, to Bob. Um where I take my like my squat and dead like seriously, but my accessories are pushed to the next level like every single time. Manageable, of course. But just training hard, like there's people who would train for 10 years and never train as hard as like for one session, like easily, easily. Like there's a lot of like hard work that comes with it. But I do like get the fact too that say me and some other person with worse quote unquote genes could do the exact same thing and they would just be at a much lower point. Yes, that is true, but that is not to mention that people simply don't work hard either. Like working
Mm.
hard is the one main thing that will get you somewhere. There were definitely like loads of monsters out there who will never reach their like peak in any sport just because they don't have it in them to like work hard and try because like even me like I trained for a long time, but then after pushing properly for powerlifting, that's when my deadlift, which was already good at age 19, got to that next level by actually like training hard and training properly. But people just will never reach that because they just don't have that, I don't know, mindset maybe. But then the issue is they're the same people who then like say that, oh, like you're at that place now because of your genes or luck. But like there's people who just can't open their eyes fully, which is a lot of people like that's where like the main hate about genes stems because these people watch your videos because like they train, right? But their version of training is very different to what the high level people's version is. It's very different. That's the issue.
Some people think so. I recently had to move due to my day job and went into it's like a smaller town. I'm not a small town guy, dog, so I don't know what I'm gonna do. But anyways, aside. So I'm at a gym in this small town, and I'm a retired powerlifter, but I still like, I'm squatting and I'm squatting 4 days a week, bench pressing 5 days a week, whatever. And people see me in there squatting and lifting and like constantly. Like tomorrow I'm in there again. And this one guy came up to me and is like they're not powerlifters. They have no idea. So they're like, what's your deal? What's your background? I'm like, I powerlifted, competed for like 12 years on the Canadian national team. And so this is what I do. Like I do those movements. And he's like, he was telling me how he's like, I can't get my squat to go up. And he goes, sometimes I'll squat this again in the same week. And he thought what he just told me was crazy. like impactful, like showing that and I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, I'll squat and I'll come back later that week and squat again.
You're like,
And I'm
what?
like, and I'm like, my man,
Mm.
I'm in my 40s and I will squat 4 times a week. You are not working hard. You thought I was being nice, but I'm like, you think you're working hard, but you're not.
Mhm.
You only think, and I told him, I pose to you, if you hop on a true powerlifting program and we're around powerlifters all the time who are on the top end working hard, you would level up mentally on what hard work was. Like, he's like, how do you get used to your body's all banged up? I'm like, a lot of that is just, it doesn't really matter how you're feeling, soreness or tired. You just go and start shifting, throw on your music, and it's just another day. And you just do it. And it becomes normal. And then when the people around you are all doing the same thing, it's no longer working hard. It becomes the norm. And then I told him, like, you're not working as hard as you think you are. You're, and he was like one of the strongest guys in the gym, right? But it's a small town. He's a big fish in a small pond.
Mhm.
And you don't realize, like, no, he's probably genetically inclined and was getting by on what he thought was hard enough. And, to your point, that genetics will only get you so far. If you're actually going to make something, because he's watching powerlifting and he's like, I don't know how those guys do it. They must be freaks, whatever. It's like, man, you might be equal on genetics, but maybe not. My point to him was, you may or may not be equal on genetics, but you don't know because you're not training as hard as they are, and you think you are. That was my point. It's like, maybe you aren't, you know, but you're not. Maybe you're not Russell or he, but you don't know because you haven't even come close to working as hard as him. Right? I don't think he fully realized that. He's like,
Yes.
I'll bench 3 days a week sometimes. Some of these guys doing five. Like I'm like, what do you, dog? You're not even close. Anyways, yeah, I know that there's a discrepancy.
100%.
How often, how much assistance work do you do? And because you said you hammer that assistance, because there's different trains of thought, and I don't know if this is different people are going to get different things from it. Like, I know in France, a lot of them are just straight up the SBD and just
Yeah.
hammer SBD, and like they like very much focus on that. And there's some assistance, but not a shitload. In other people, it's a lot of assistance work, almost like kind of looks bodybuilding stylish.
Yeah, that's me. Like that's me for push really. So leg wise, I still only do just like the squat, then a Bulgarian, then maybe some leg extensions, right? Again, like, but that would be pushed hard for 2 or 3 sets. But my push days, so my upper body, which may not even like do much for my powerlifting, I train the same that I trained back in like age like 18, right? Where like powerlifting was not the main thing. Like, so I obviously just got into training by training hard because I love training. So that bit like in me is still there, like that whole like young mindset of just like pushing shit hard. Like the maxing out mindset. Because I know that just at this level, I can't afford to do that to my compounds. I can get that feeling kind of by pushing hard on my dumbbell incline, and which I do a lot. Like that is probably my main necessity that I push hard. My incline dumbbell, I push that hard every week. Um, Whereas like people might be a bit too nervous because again, like even like the powerlifters. So one tip that I give to powerlifters who are like early, like so kids ask me for tips, for tips pretty too often is I tell them not to change from what you're doing already, or like to do stuff that you love doing. So I have always loved to train maybe my dumbbell incline. If there's a similar exercise that does the same thing, but you hate it, if you're that early in, don't do it. Like do stuff that you want to wake up and go and train for. Because at that age, like one thing that I love about myself is I've never ever seen the gym as a chore. To this, like my training age is what, like 4 or 5 years, 4 years now. I've never ever seen the gym as a chore. ever. I am honestly like fully excited for every session. Like my session is the highlight of like most days. Fact, just hands down. And that is because I do what I love. Say there's something that's hard that I don't like, but I should do it. Like that's what people at the top do. But say there's something minor like I don't know, some minor accessory that like just ain't that like deep. People will be like, oh, like they've got that today, and they'll be dreading the session all day long. Just no, like at that young age too. Just like don't do that. Just do things in training that you actually like love doing and love like waking up and like and training for. Um, so for me, again, that is me working hard. Luckily for my squat and deadlift, I work hard for those two, so I don't need to worry too much about my accessories. But bench press, I don't know about you, but for me, bench press is nice at times. That's maybe one day of the week, maybe. The other 3 days, the sub max by 20, 30 kilos, like it's just bench press, right? So I want to get just like more out of training that segment, and that's with my accessory work. Um, but again, I at this level now, I push it to a level where it doesn't impact my main lifts, but it does for me what I want it to do. Do you know what I mean? Like
it's
I feel good from it still.
it's like do essentially do what you think you'll do consistently and get your work
Yes,
in.
100%. Yeah. Because once you quit for a week, maybe, oh, like it will just snowball. It will snowball. Like I've not stopped training for more than like 1 week, and like that's been due to like holidays. I've not quit once through COVID. So COVID was my first year of training. I bought my home gym. I bought some 1 inch barbell, some like shitty plates. I just kept training, didn't stop once. I couldn't imagine like not training for like more than like a week. Like I love what I do. Do you know?
Eh, it's relatively late, I guess. Like, how did you find it? And all of a sudden, you're like, oh my god, I love this. Like, this is my thing.
Just while starting sixth form, so I'm not sure what they call it in these days, but like the age 18, 19, like pre-uni, um, there was a gym just near school. So like my friends went, I joined them. Obviously, at that age, people are like they're comparing their bench presses and whatnot, their deadlifts. Then obviously just started there. So training like friend wise, and then turning into more of a hobby. At the start, I did try to balance it with running, and it worked. Like my 6 meter time got faster through training. Um, but then obviously COVID, no more running, mainly gymming. So the rest was
I mean,
history.
Harry Akins proved you can mix them both.
Yeah.
I don't know his list, but looking at him, my man could probably shift some weights. He's not unaccustomed to it. So when you first got into powerlifting, who was it? Like, who was it that you found out about? Was it the British scene? Was it booming yet? Did you go online and find some people? What was it like?
So that's my con. I never had an idol for lifting. That's my like not issue, but that's something like unique. Like I didn't like see much. Like people like Brett Gibbs, who's an icon. I promise you, I found out about him maybe last year. It's so bad. It's so bad. Um, the way I got into lifting was just so like there was a day where I must have pulled like 260 at 18. And that was a record in some Fed. And then someone at my gym said that to me, said, "All right, do it." So like, have a sanctioned comp. But that was not even for the IPF. Like that was just for some other Fed in England. So that was my first comp. And then obviously, like since the numbers there were still like decent, then people said, "All right, switch to the IPF affiliate." Actually, like push hard. But there was no one that like really like pulled me into like the comp lifting. That just like happened like naturally as well, which is again
Really,
like
it's
lucky.
interesting.
Yeah.
In how about now?
Now, my top three, I think the person that I just respect most would be Bob. The person that I'm in awe most about is Perk. And the person that I just think as the biggest just beast really would probably be Russ. So
No,
those
no
are my
kidding.
three pinnacle names, yeah.
And are you staying 83? Did you move up to 93?
So I've been eating post nationals, like eating, and I'm only 86 right now. So, like
Oh,
to be 93, like that's the like getting like shakes down and whatnot. Like I'm not sure. My comp in July is the Euro show that's a comp um 4 points only. So I'm planning to weigh in at maybe like 86, 7 there, and then just see how it is because I've never had a meet without losing weight for. That's my like thing. I just would want to see how it is with no cut because I could staying 83 for me is so simple. However, I have also reached to that point where I am putting on maybe like 5 to 10 kilos in a year. So I am reaching my upper limits, like maybe as an 83. But the choice still isn't like 100% made. Just my next comp will be at about 86, 7. Then we'll see from there.
the thing is, the difference between an 83 and a 93, like 10 kilos is huge.
Yeah,
That
it's
is,
so
that's insane.
yeah.
I mean, to 22 pounds, it's like another human.
Mm.
You will look like an entirely different human.
Like yeah,
And
I've only ever been 80, like 8, like maximum, like nowhere near like 95 to then cut down. No idea, you know what I mean? It's pretty scary. It's completely like new in it. So we'll
and
see.
you want to do it. I'm assuming you don't want to like get chubby. Like
Oh
part of
God,
like
no. God
you're
forbid.
jacked. I know, dude, because you're jacked and ripped, and like this is part of you. You know, part of your persona. What people like, it would look totally different if you were like
Yeah,
chubby.
so valid,
but
so valid. You know what I mean?
it but to get 22 pounds, 10 kilos added onto your body weight is such a massive ask. That's where one th- I so I'm conflicted.
Hmm.
I think we could definitely use more weight classes in powerlifting because we have tweeners. People are in between in men's and women's. Like for instance, Russ. Everyone now is talking about Perk versus Russ because I mean it'd be an absolute showdown, mega showdown, especially after Worlds, if they're both world champions. But even Perk said on the podcast, look at if Russ is a bigger, stronger human being. But if he cuts to 83, me and him going head up would be phenomenal, and it would. The thing is, if Russ moved up to 93, he
There is
probably
this.
won't be as big as those natural 93ers. He's
Mhm.
probably best somewhere. His natural optimum, like when you see Russ doing crazy numbers in the gym, his optimal's probably around 90 kilos. Probably around there is where you're going to see the best out of him. That weight class does not exist in the IPF. You know what I mean? And the reason though, the flip side of it, if we start making more weight classes, you can water down the competition. And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden,
Just
do
so
we
many.
have the talent? Do we have the talent pool to have more weight classes, or are we just going to water it down? Because if you look at the untested divisions, they don't have as many head to heads within weight classes, and it greatly impacts viewership of their streams and whatnot because you're not seeing head to head. You have to see a formula used, and
People want,
that's not the
yeah.
same. So you could hurt yourself by
Mm.
making more weight classes. So I get that too. I don't know. It's tough, man. And you sound like you're starting to become a tweener where you're in between two weight classes and you're like,
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, like 90 would be like a cool one to aim for, but like 93 is very different to me.
3
So
kilos, man. 3 kilos of body weight is not, people kill themselves for years for 3 quality kilos of body weight. That's big, man. That's big.
not
I don't
valid.
know. I don't know
Yeah.
what the answer
Well,
is.
time will tell, yeah. It's still early days. So
It's early days, yeah.
uh,
What's going on in British powerlifting right now? Are you guys on a big upswing? It feels like it.
There are definitely much more sub juniors getting involved, which is amazing. The sport itself is we are trying to make ourselves very similar to how it is in the States. So like there's like loads of like prize money meets now. They are growing well, really, really well. They're growing amazingly actually. Like our nationals meet in April, sorry, March was unreal. Like it was levels ahead the previous ones, and the standard of lifting it is also crazy. Like I won the 83s last year with 743, and the winner this year got 780 with, and like they should have done like 790. 800 will like be a norm within like 2 years. Um,
Juniors too, no less. Just so
Junior
everyone listening, you're talking
is
juniors.
like it just they started riding so quickly. That sub junior I sent you, he's 16, and he's doing that. There are loads of more sub juniors doing mad stuff as well. Like so, we saw Nonso as some beast when he was a sub junior, right? Yet there were crazier people now. Like just that now that the sports becoming more of a mainstream sport, slowly but surely, right? It's it's happening like the effect's working like from the sub juniors upwards. So it's gone the uprise well now. But we're doing a lot of stuff like the senior nationals meet in November this year should be the best GB meet of all time. Like they're trying hard a lot. They're trying to level up and put it like at least somewhat on par to the best meets in the States. Because like we all see like here just how like amazing like those meets are. And we know like there's a lot of like the people at the top now are trying to like listen to what people are saying now. And they are actually like listening. So I reckon like in the next like year or so, it will just be levels ahead of like what it like of what it used to be. And like there were talks of like a USAPL in England because obviously like back then BP was just not up to standard, but then now we've changed our like CEO, I'm pretty sure like just stuff's changing a lot, like for the better. So it's really nice. Like
Well,
I'm glad I've got one more year of junior because like next year should even be like levels ahead of this year. And this year was already great. And it's only May now.
dog,
So
please don't let
it's all
USCPL.
on the up.
Please don't
Nah,
let USCPL colonize you.
nah, they were trying. They were trying hard.
Dude, when Juritz came on the KOTL podcast, and he's like, fucking USCPL trying to colonize nations now. What's going on here? What are we doing? It's
They're
true.
trying hard.
It's like you're America. You're American powerlifting. You can't go to other nations and throw down your flag and be like, this is ours now. It's like, what?
They're trying so
I
hard.
don't
It's mental, but for
know.
now it's on the up, and it should turn up for the foreseeable future as well, which is amazing.
What do you attribute this growth in British powerlifting? Because I could feel it and we could
Honestly,
see it.
I think social media, like that's caused so many things. Like there's so many things. Like even like so, Gymshark have been a thing for years now, right? Yeah, they've taken an interest into powerlifting over the last year or so. Like that's done levels already. Nationals used to be just at any other like venue like around the country, right? But like now it's been at Gymshark's gym for 2 years, which is an amazing venue. Like they'll sponsor it. The live streamers normally like NAF. Now it's amazing. Just I think the craze on social media because obviously like you're saying like we are trying to pull powerlifting just to be a big sport or a bigger sport. And social media does so much. Like brands like Gymshark or like whoever, they want to grow themselves mainly, right? But if a certain sport can help them, they'll do it. And that sport helps them through social media. So I reckon the main growth is caused by social media and people obviously now like wanting to like take charge for changes. Because I'm sure like people had thoughts over like the last years, but thought that like they'd be too minor to say anything. But now people are like grouping up and saying that, oh, like we want prize money. We want stuff to change at certain means. We want like comp standard racks in the warm-up room at like nationals. Like people just actually like trying to like put their foot down and like stand for stuff has helped a lot. So it's still only early days, but they're doing great. They're doing really, really good.
And like Sheffield, which is
Oh,
a
that too.
monster event, is in the UK every year now. There's like SBD is obviously it's global, but is also based in UK. You guys have the infrastructure in place.
Mm.
So yeah, it makes sense, and it's only going
Makes
to get
sense.
bigger and bigger and bigger. And I agree with you that the social media influencers now, the younger crowd that have now taken to powerlifting and found powerlifting, is going to be huge. The influence here to bring people in and be like, "Have you tried powerlifting?" How many people are just in the gym and don't necessarily know the avenue of powerlifting? Now, couple that with, Sheffield is taking place in the UK. So if someone in the UK is like, let me see what powerlifting's all about, and they buy a ticket to Sheffield, if they'll you're not going to watch that event and not be like, oh my god, you know, throw out this whole powerlifting is boring talk. Once you watch Sheffield, they'll be like, oh my god, like I'm in. Enough said. Um, it's
Yeah.
interesting the interest that Gymshark has had. What do you think they're going with this? What direction? Because Gymshark is like $1 billion company, is it not? It's absolutely
Oh yeah, yeah,
massive.
yeah, they're massive. Yeah, yeah.
So what and now that they've been hosting the British Nationals 2 years in a row, and they're sponsoring major athletes, like Cranin from the US also is with Gymshark, but they're with a bunch of people. Where do you think they're going with this? What are their ambitions, do you think? Because this is interesting.
I just see that they are hopeful for powerlifting in the UK and just worldwide to just become a just mainstream sport, and they want to help and be like a part of that as well because powerlifting is a big thing for just the gym. Like there's the obviously the bodybuilding, but powerlifting's there too. And I think that like people who gym can use powerlifting as a motivator to keep on training. Because yeah, you can like train your chest by doing the machine work, right? But some people just want to like lift a squat, bench, deadlift. So powerlifting is a great method to actually just keep or like stay in the gym and like keep like on top with training. So as that grows with just like new gym goers and everyone who trains now, I reckon they want to just be part of that growth to like reach the top. Because again, like everyone wants powerlifting to just be a bigger sport because it should be like people at the top and like all across it too, just like they work hard. That they work hard. Like people like who just like I remember seeing how massive it was that ESPN posted his lift.
Yeah.
Like that was massive, right? So that can just be like more of like a norm. Gymshark see that. We all hope for that, right? So I think like they want to be part of that. Especially now
Where
that
do you,
like their best athletes too, like that's their main sport as well.
oh, really? Is
Yeah,
that like,
they've got some high level lifters and some high level potential lifters. Like Nonso signed his first deal with them, I think a few weeks ago, and like his potential is crazy. Crane's is high, Nate's is high. Like they see how influential powerlifting is for the younger youth. They see that. So if they
hmm,
can help it grow, why not, you know?
yeah, what do you think this is powerlifting in general in 5 years? How much different do you think it's gonna be? What are we looking at?
Great question. That's a very 5 years. That's a long time, man.
It is and it isn't. Here's
Yeah.
the thing with 5 years. Things will change, but some changes take time. So it is and it isn't. A lot can happen in 5 years. Though. When we go back 5 years, 2019, the world championships looked different. The level of competition was way lower. Sheffield didn't exist. A lot of these other brands like Gymshark you just mentioned, I don't know how into it they were, but nothing like now. And like, I mean, a lot has happened in 5 years, but it took time.
Mhm.
Um, but now, I mean, now we're on Eurosport, CBS, and Sheffield
Yeah.
is here. And the tide is rising when it comes to talent pool. I don't know, 5 years.
What do you think? 5 years.
I
5 years.
think I think for an event like Sheffield, for instance, is going to be much, much bigger. I think now by then we're at 10,000 people watching as opposed to 2.5. So I think we'll Sheffield event, 10,000, and that's crazy. By the way, 10,000 people buying tickets to watch your sport. I'm telling you, 5 years ago would be insane to even think about. So I think that for one. For two, I think there'll be more money meets like that. Like the Sheffield bag is going to be exponentially bigger. And I think there'll be more money meets, not Sheffield, because if you have too many Sheffields, then Sheffield's not Sheffield. None of them are Sheffield anymore. You can't have, because then we start dividing the talent pool after worlds as well. And I don't want that. Hopefully nothing happens like that because all the world champions shooting for Sheffield, there's a pathway, right? You don't want competing pathways because then we start diluting the talent pool and then the viewership as well. It's like, well, I watch Sheffield because I'm seeing all the best clash. Don't mess with that. So, but I do hope there's avenues, there's so much talent, other pockets where you could have UK versus France, America versus the world, little dual events, or highlight future stars. So what we have Sheffield in the Open after Junior Worlds. What if you take the world's best juniors and they all clash, and let's see who's the biggest rising star. Just different showcases like that. There's different avenues to take. You have Junior Worlds, sure. We also have Open Worlds, and look what we did with Sheffield. You can do things like this, and have like dual meets almost in the vein of, your videos that we saw work so well, one versus one, 1v1. You could do dual meets like that. What happens when this guy versus that guy, this girl versus that girl? Let's go. And it's like a card like that. There's different ways of taking this where you don't replicate the same idea. I hope people don't try to do the same thing that's already going on. Move in different directions. That's what made Sheffield Sheffield. So leave that. Sheffield's good and start doing those things. From and I do like the nation versus nation, Britain versus the
That
world, or
sounds,
France
yeah.
versus Europe, or whatever. Those are always good too. And you could start developing rivalries between like Britain, France, or Italy, Spain, and obviously US versus the world as well. I don't know. We got ways to take it, but I do think this is growing. And I'm going to play two games with you, the name game and also overrated, underrated. And some of these are in there that'll be good discussion, but the TV deals and what we might get from the TV deals, a lot, a little, game changing, not, I don't know. It's still early days. How much, and it's hard to pin down how much have they influenced, like how many people seen him on TV in Eurosport? I'm in North America, so I didn't see it, but we just signed a CBS deal, which the Super Bowl is on CBS Sports, so it's massive. How many people watch that will see it and be like, I want to start powerlifting? They're gym goers. They wouldn't have found us otherwise. They threw on the TV on a Saturday afternoon, and what the fuck is this? And they see it. They think it's fun, and they're like, I'm going to get involved. What happens when that happens year after year after year for 5 years as well? What does that do to our sports reach and growth in markets that it wouldn't ordinarily be in after 5 years of people just throwing the TV in Europe? Some European and whatever nation is like, what is this? And they see Jesus Oliveras or Perk doing what he's doing. They're like, I'm going to do this now. I don't know. I'm not sure. These are questions that, or I've had other people be like, nah, I don't think it's going to impact us a lot. I think it's the social media is going to impact us more. And I would say, like, why not both? It's kind of like the genetics versus hard work. Maybe social media does help us out more per ratio because you're looking and finding the social media guys. But does that mean so because it's more, does that mean the TV deal is not helping? Still might be casting that net to find the youth, the athletic youth to bring them towards us. I don't know. We're just now getting into this and what that looks like, as well as other doors that open, major corporations that might get involved. Are they going to get involved now that you're on CBS Sports and you're on Eurosport? Does that help them? Does that make them be like, you guys are more legit now? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe like I don't give a shit, man. The TV's TV, TV's dead. Maybe they don't care, or maybe they do. I don't know. Or the Olympics. If they're like, do we put them in? Well, they've been crushing it on Eurosport. They've been crushing on CBS. They're a global sport now. Maybe that's a recognition. They're like, you know what? Now they're legit. Maybe they go in the Olympics, or maybe they're like, we really don't care. I don't know yet. The other, there's layers to this. It's a difficult question I threw at you, and I hum and haw about it myself. Yeah, I don't know, my man. Did I add clarity
Time.
or did I muddy the waters more?
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, because the whole idea about how like TV's dying, like you hear that quite a lot. I'm here anyway. But yeah, both would help. So why not both? But that's so true.
In,
Yeah,
in TV dying, keep in mind it comes with a caveat. Okay, so they found live sports is still high, like the Super
definitely.
Bowl or whatever.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
So while people say TV is dying, it's true in a miss. We're missing that. No, but we're sports. We're not a sitcom. We're not a freaking. We're live sports. So it's just finding a platform, and so that's a different thing altogether. In TV, in terms of you turn it on and whatever's on, but streaming services are still going. So in 5 years, do we end up on a streaming service? I mean, Netflix is going to do Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, and no one saw that coming. Streaming services are going to start getting into live sports as well. Where might we go with all of that? I don't know. We're going to find different homes as we go, but it's difficult to say. But I'm optimistic, and to cover those gaps, we need our influencers and live streams, etc. Because they've really helped pave the way and build what we got. But yeah, 5 years, it's difficult to say. It's not 5 years goes by relatively quick, but a lot can happen in 5 years. We could cover a lot of ground. One major deal away, my man. I don't know.
Fingers crossed, man. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's do the name game in overrated, underrated. We'll do the name game first. So the name game's easy. I'll say a name, and you could say the first word that comes to your head, or tell a story, or whatever. There's no right and wrong answer. It's just a stimulating conversation. So do the name game first, sir. How about the 83 kilo national champ, European champ, Jurins Kangamu?
Idol. He's someone that I would like looked up to a lot, like during my all of last year, really. Like, I remember like loving watching him like lift up worlds and Euros. Like he was an idol. Like he gave me a lot of tips and advice last year because obviously what happened at Worlds with Hitchin, like there was a lot of like talk. He told me just keep my head down, focus, work hard, fix it. Came back Euros, fixed it. So he's a idol.
He's also, I love what, speaking of influencers, he's got a colorful personality, outspoken, funny dude, charismatic, and I'm glad he's got a podcast and he's doing his damn thing. Like he's an asset for Britain as well and powerlifting in general. But it's good. I'm glad there's a British podcast too to be a voice because you guys are blowing up over there and all you guys collectively are doing a lot, and he's helped leading the charge as well. How about this one, Russell Orhe?
Just beast. Beast will do for him. Yeah, yeah. Beast. Leave it there. Beast.
How, let me ask you, if him and Perk clash as 83s, who wins?
I think Perk has a way higher ceiling at 83 than Russ does. So Perk.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that was my next guy is Austin Perkins.
He's just a genetic complete outlier freak. However, I'm sure a lot of people don't know about like his early days. Um, so I have friends from uni who went to Uni Worlds in Estonia in I think 2019. And I remember they told me some funny story how like they remember seeing like his QC and thought that he lied about it because like they looked up on his page. Obviously, like he used a bunch of like raps and stuff, like he's a 74. and then he rocks up to that comp, beats the 83 winner by like 50 kilos, pulls way over 300 as a 74. Like he's just an outline freak, and he's been a freak from day one. Like now he's like moving to that super freak, like next
Mm.
level. He's always been a crazy, crazy guy. So he is
Is
just
he,
the outlier for me, since people are using that word now. Like he's the outlier for me.
dude? Well, first off, that's Rondell who started that outlier combo. When he came on the podcast and he said, "There's only four outliers. Everyone else isn't an outlier." And let me ask you if you agree with this. We're gonna go back to the name game, but this is just stimulating conversation. That's why a name game's good, man. Um, Rondell said, "Jesus, myself, Bob, Perk. Nobody else is an outlier. It's overused. No one else is an outlier. They're they're one percenters. We're talking outliers of outliers."
Mhm.
And he's saying the gap isn't big enough with everyone else. The gap isn't big. And like you're talking Russell Orhe, who's phenomenal, been the champ for 5 years straight. Not the champ for 5 years straight, number one ranked, anyways, 5 years straight. And he's like, but the gap isn't big enough. And there's a gap, not big enough.
Exactly.
Outlier means outlier. And when he said Bob, he's comparing Bob to the 105s because Bob was 106 when he did 978 or whatever. So he's like, I'm saying Bob is a 101 as a 105. Don't compare him to the 120s because that's me. Well, what is your take on this? Now, this is the men's side. You could talk to the women's as well, but who are the outliers in your eye?
So from those four that he mentioned, so Jesus, Bob, Rondell, and Perk, I only know a lot of details. I don't know too much about Rondell. Like I've watched a good few videos. I watched his recent Max Out reel, of course, like who hasn't, right? But I agree with what he's saying about like that gap. Like that gap would stop Russ from being one. And I agree with it as well. So I think on those regards, yeah, that would put it more down to um Perk, Rondell, and Bob. For Jesus, I'm not sure about like the second and third place for his weight class, like that like ranges the gap. But he's right, like the outliers of outliers, like that's valid for an for like the top three. So I reckon, yeah, for me, those rankings still go Perk, Rondell, then Bob.
So that was one of my questions I was about to ask is who's the king of powerlifting right now in your eyes? And I guess you're saying Perk.
I th the king right now is Russ. That's just how it is. But I think just the ties
Oh
will
wow,
sh
okay. Well, let me ask you. Okay, okay. This is interesting. This is interesting. So, because this is different. These are two different questions, and some people are conflating them as the same. To say outlier is just literally deviations away from the rest of the pack, and you're an outlier. And Russ isn't so many deviations away from the rest of the pack as say Perk is currently to the other 74s. Um, certainly if you don't look at Taylor Atwood's 2021 total, just last 2 years, or Rondell with the other 120s, like, yeah, they're deviations away. Rondell or Russ isn't, however, to crown a king isn't just that.
Mhm.
To crown a king might be, no, I enjoy Russ's 5 years at the top in a super stacked division like the 83s because a lot of people walking this earth fit into there. So to rise to the top of the 83s is much more difficult than the top of the 59s because how many humans are walking around, men are walking around in that weight class lifting weights? Russ has got a thicker pool to deal with, and he's been on top year after it's so many generations later, and he's still here, the number one guy in the same weight class. So it's different. People are like, well, how can Perk be the number one outlier, but then Russ is king? It's like it, you
They're
know
not
what I
the same.
mean?
Yeah, definitely. I
It's
see.
yeah.
Yeah. So go on.
Well, I was just gonna say, is that what you mean when you're saying Russ? Like, why do you pick Russ as king?
Yeah, like you said there, like just his dominance, just like for a prolonged time, like that builds into it. Like he goes against like some powerlifting like standards, whereas like you don't have to like look that good, but like he does. Like he does a lot of things that like people would be like looking for in powerlifting, like being on the top, like looking great. Like he's done a lot too. And like so obviously like based on that, since he's actually like not being part of the IPF like on that stage for a while now, he's the king right now in my opinion. But even though like he will win, in my opinion, at Worlds, I think that he'll still get that title knocked down by how dominant Perk will be, or even like someone else. Um, but just with his history like right now, pre this year's Worlds, he's king, even though he's not the main outlier to me.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it, and it all
Yeah.
depends on how you. It all depends on how you give your title, and there's no right and wrong answer on that, right? It's all everyone's got different criteria. How about this one? Delaney Wallace.
Unsung hero. Like I think that his total from was it Sheffield was crazy and just didn't get too much talk, at least here. Like what total was it? It was eight.
842 and a half
Yeah,
or
like that is
840.
that
Yeah.
is that's crazy. And like that just didn't get that much talk. So I reckon he's an unsung hero.
And why do you think that is? Is it because of the shadow of Russ looms? Um, or because he's a two-time world champ, massive clashes he's had. I mean, with Brits like Jurens and Ahoro, and he's had moments like at Sheffield. Great speaker, does public speaking actually, amazing on podcasts. Why do you think it is?
I think yeah, like you said that he's just in Russia's shadow sadly. Like that is it. Like even that 842, like Russia's best was 843, right? Um like
Yeah,
just
so
yeah, it's just like that little that small chip, right? I reckon
it's
that
because Russ did 841 at World, so that was so Delaney took the world record, but Russ did slightly more domestically, so it wasn't a world record. And obviously, he's going for the world record to get the bag at Sheffield, so they did the right call. But yeah, and plus, just period, Russ is such a big figure in our community. You
yeah,
know,
to bounce him off that you'd need it like a lot, which is very, very sad, yeah. But still,
how
like
about
it's
this?
still he's a crazy athlete. He's a crazy athlete.
Oh, and he ain't going nowhere neither. He's in his 20s.
Yeah.
And that's why he's another guy that when I was talking about other events, he's a guy who needs it. We have a lot of guys, his quality, who need a pathway for other events after nationals. If he doesn't make a world team because a guy like Russ is around, he's got to go somewhere. He's got the SBD rally meet, which is great. And let's see some more of those. Because he's phenomenal. We need him in this sport. And he's a super nice guy, man. If you ever meet him in real, some people you meet in real life and they take it or leave it, or you can even get a bad taste in your mouth and be like, well, that's disappointing. I kind of wish you were different. Delaney, I promise you, you meet the lady, and he's like everyone who meets the lady in real life, he's so freaking nice. And he's
His
aloof,
dancing like shows it from Sheffield. Yeah, like he seems just like vibrant and fun. Yeah, hell yeah.
dude, and he's aloof to what's going on in powerlifting in terms of the dramas and whatnot in a good way. It keeps him innocent. Like he doesn't even know who's mad at who and what's going on. He's so innocent to it because he's got he's got a job and he's got like whatever, he's busy. So it actually keeps him down to earth and out of the drama to a large extent. But anyways, how about this guy, Joe Borenstein?
Upcoming danger. I've been watching his training and like I've personally heard like talk about like him beating Russ, like his total wise, but I see where they're like why they're saying it. Like they pull a similar amount, Joe benches more, but people just seem to not realize that Russ just squats a house more than Joe. Like people aren't fathoming that, but Joe's young as hell, right? Like he's got so much time as well, and he's just still like he's moving up too. But he's an upcoming serious danger. Like beyond serious danger as a
He
junior
said,
as well.
yeah, junior. He did in a couple more years as a junior. He did 820, and he's just starting as an 83. Like he just moved up from the 74s. And this year, Junior Worlds, he wants to go for the open world record, depending on what Russ does at open worlds. But we think Russ isn't going to really push the open world record too much because obviously Sheffield's coming. So that'd be, you want to win without going too crazy. So Boringstein wants to make a serious statement at Junior Worlds. And when I reposted him and I said, is Boringstein the future? Like, how much of a threat is he? His reply in the comments was 860 will not be enough. And obviously, Russ did 860 at PA Nats. And he's essentially saying, when me and him clash, and they're going to clash. They're both Americans. So whether it's nationals, wherever it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying 860 is not going to be enough, my man. It's very interesting. And one guy's 21, the other guy's pushing 30. Is the rate of adaptation? Where's it going? Where are we heading? I'm getting excited. I'm kind of like you. We got a little ways to go. We got to see a little more, but there's a threat. There's danger there, and that's exciting.
Definitely.
All right. How about Ade? Inevitable.
Oh God. Ade, for me personally, Ade's situation is one of the worst things that has happened in British powerlifting for a long time. And like it's so unfortunate. His total from the Arnolds was incredible. Like
Mm,
he is someone who can easily like battle for the podium. And for a federation, they should want their team to be the best team possible that they can do. If they chose to take Ade, even though it might have like been against like one of their like rules maybe in their like law book maybe like I'm not sure but like there's a reason that he didn't go because he didn't lift at a certain meet that they wanted like him to like um lift at, right? But he lifted at the Arnold's, which is an international meet too, right? They should have taken him. Like he is someone who, in my opinion, has all it takes to be the GB King of the 83s, newfound. He's someone who can actually fully challenge for the top places on the international stage. He's young as well. I'm pretty sure he's like 25, maybe.
25. He's
He's
25.
young as well. Like he is the GB future on the senior team. No shadow of a doubt. Um, so yeah, he is just the real future to me.
Honestly, because he had 840 locked out, but there's down up, but he locked it out.
Yeah.
Just a little down up, dude. 840. What are we talking about here, man? That's Delaney Wallace territory. Like this is territory where Russ comes in. He's not winning on like a bad day. He's going to force some action anyways. Like, and at age 25, so 840 wouldn't be the top end. He could clean up his last deadlift, hit 840, and possibly expand on that. If he gets
Definitely.
into 850s, what are we talking? This is we got some competitive stuff. The future of the 83s with Joe at a, and Russ is still in his 20s now. I think he might be turning 30 this year, but there's plenty more in Russ as well, right? It's going to start getting, they're going to push each other into being an outlier emerges. An outlier might emerge amongst these guys, or they just push Russ. Maybe Russ has always been the outlier, just wasn't pushed like that, and he's going to. I believe Enahoro, another 83, was crunching the numbers in terms of what an outlier would be for the 83s. And I think 880 was the mark.
880. Yeah.
But look, Russ is 860 already,
Yeah,
and
valid.
he jumped up from 840 something to 860 in a relatively short period of time. A little over a year or whatever. Russ could push. Russ is getting close. And these other guys, they're young. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but that's the mark anyways. Um, how about this guy, Nathaniel Messiah?
He is just a humble king who I'm grateful has entered my life. In the powerlifting sense, he's got some big goals that he wants to achieve. I'm pretty sure his goal is to win worlds this year. Um, Obviously on Euros, but we already won Euros last year. He wants to pull the deadlift world record. I'm pretty sure at Worlds too. So he's got a big future with big goals, and I'm just glad that he managed to pick a sport where his fan base probably weren't all into powerlifting, but he chose his own desire more and chose to like stick through it because he knows that like he wants to like do well in that sport and grow when like he didn't have to because like obviously like he could have picked anything like he would have had to make a lot of sacrifices to do powerlifting like full time, which he chose to actually do. So that's great as well. So he's got a bright future ahead of him. He's only 20 or 21. Like he's young. He's junior like next year as well. I should be a 93 by next year nationals. So that'll be me v him in GB, which should be pretty cool. Um, so yeah, there's just a bright future for him.
It is cool that he shows powerlifting. If it, everything he brings to the table, it helps us. It helps
Someone
us all, right?
he could have done anything like hybrid training is taken over in the UK, the UK right now. Like he could have chosen, I don't know, high rocks, anything, but he chose powerlifting and stuck through it too.
And he's
Really,
got the
really,
right attitude, like you said. Like
amazing.
he's talented, he's got the following, and he's also got the right attitude in terms of like bringing people in, like yourself, and working with people and wanting things to grow. So yeah, he's an asset. Let's take a 2 second break here. Let's do a 2 second pee break. We'll come back. I got one more name, and then we'll do overrated and underrated. How are you for time? Is that good for you?
Yeah, that is all good, man. Thank you.
Okay,
Cheers.
cool. Okay, one more name for you, Tony Cliff.
I don't know too much about Tony, sadly.
He's the patriarch of British powerlifting, my man. You got it. So I mean, yeah, he's winning titles. He's been in powerlifting for freaking longer than you've been alive, I think.
Yeah, I've
And
seen
he's
that.
world champion, multiple time world champ. Now he's in his, I think he's 40. I think he turned 40 by now.
Actually, one
And
thing I had seen was yeah, his total had just gone just straight, like almost like linearly up throughout his entire career. Like
yeah,
he went from being like not always winning, I'm pretty sure, to like just having like the top totals. Yeah. Like I
yeah,
saw
he his staying power has been phenomenal. And at a time when Britain didn't have many stars, there was Tony who was winning worlds or in contention to win worlds and medaling at worlds. And so he bridged that gap when Britain needed somebody, he was around. And in equipment, out of equipment, I mean, he was around at a time before the IPF even had a classic division. And, so that's why him making it to Sheffield was a big deal. And he's involved at the federation as well. In the actual infrastructure of the Fed, he's involved as well. So Tony's a pretty big piece. And he's hanging in there now at 40 years old with the new generation. I mean, how many generations he's probably seen come and go. So he's hanging in there now. And when Bob Matthews decided to go to 120s in the IPF, he jumps out and calls him Sideshow Bob and says, I'll meet you at Worlds, young man. So we'll have a battle. And hopefully Tony's 100% healthy and can string something together. I mean, he's a legend in the game. Let's do a little overrated, underrated, sir.
hit me.
So I'll throw something out there and you could tell me if you think it's overrated or underrated. And yeah, we'll see. So we'll start off the European Championship.
Not overall, no, just neutral. Like it's just fine.
Yeah.
Like it's. Oh, wait, what do you mean by it?
So it kind of depends. So put it this way.
Hmm.
You might say it's underrated and it deserves
Oh,
more credit
I
within
actually
the
know it. Sorry,
community.
sorry, sorry. It's Underrated. Underrated.
Okay.
Yes, okay, sorry. My reason is, for example, last year at Worlds, I'm pretty sure like the top five athletes were from Europe. So obviously, like we all battled again at Euros, but then there was just some different gravy about being a world champion and being a European champion. So obviously, it depends on the year. Like obviously, like there are years where the states will take over, years where there might not be in like the top podium places. So will change, but like it's potentially underrated because Europe can be the best often. Not always, but sometimes. So it can be underrated.
And I think in recent years has got far more credit by North Americans. In the rest of the world, previous to that, it was vastly underrated.
Mm.
Now it's especially on the women's side. The women, come on, man. You got Americans who are not going to come close to beating some of these European women. So like that helps. It also depends, like you're talking juniors in the open, if they it'll depend on the scheduling. If some people bypass Euros and just go straight to Worlds, that would be a shame
Mm.
because that'll take down the Europeans, obviously, the championship. So hopefully we see not too many Europeans skipping the Euros. That'll be remain to be seen. I'm
Mm.
not sure, and that'll come down to scheduling, and we'll see. Because Euros at the end of the year seem to work out relatively well for top end lifters to show up, but now it's going to be in between nationals and worlds and might be too close.
Yeah, no,
And
right.
and and then if people start skipping it, this is for the open. And if people start skipping it, that's really going to hurt. But we'll see how that goes. Um, Junior worlds.
Underrated. It can result in like the future now and the present now. Like it can result in totals that could definitely like challenge open worlds. Like I'm pretty sure even now, like the top podium places would place very, very well at open worlds. And that's without like the likes of like Joe. So it's underrated.
How about formulas?
Formulas is probably overrated because I've heard that like it's just not great. Like it's like dots favors one end of the like heavier light side. The gel points favors one side. Like there's no I'm pretty sure like Wilkes might be the most average one, but still like none are perfect. So to rationalize like a 59 lifter male with an 84 plus female, it's just different. Or even like a light male and heavy male, like just one favors one, it's overrated. Like it's not the
Uh,
best way to compare them.
how about titles?
Overrated. Overrated. I think it's just in powerlifting, titles are overrated. I wish I was able to like speak more on it, but I just see it as over as overrated really. Like I might see someone like I don't know, like yeah, a world champ title is amazing. It really is, and I know that, but no, there's pros and cons. That's a tough one. I will stick with slightly overrated, just due to the level that powerlifting is right now as a sport. But as it grows, it will become better. But in my opinion, I just see it as just slightly overrated.
How about this one? Social media influencers.
Overrated. 100% overrated.
Oh, wow.
Um, oh yeah, 100%. Like there's so many cons about like just so many like things about it. Like you will see the thing where like someone might spout something like say something that's just obviously like biased or not true. Like even like some exercise, maybe like the majority of them are lying about something, like anything. Um, just as a whole, it's overrated. Like a lot of people at this level lie about a lot of things. Whether that's drug usage, whether that's their thoughts about something, because they would rather be like seen in the like highlight rather than like saying what they really think. Like it's overrated. Like I'm sure people would rather listen to someone who like wouldn't mind about what people would say about like what they're saying, which sadly the majority of influencers like care about what people think about them, so they wouldn't want to say something that could potentially get people not happy, right? So they're overrated.
One more for you. TV deals.
TV deals. Now that we've had a chat, underrated. Pre this call here, I would say overrated because I had the mindset that yeah, TV's dying and whatnot. Again, like would someone like switch on their TV, open CBS and be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I would like want to do this. Like, but like first of all, yes, they easily could. And second of all, there's more to a TV deal than just sitting down and watching TV. There's way more to it. So now it's definitely underrated. And I'm pretty sure like people like hearing this would have had the thought that it's overrated first. Now and hearing like this now they switch over to underrated. It's definitely underrated.
Good
It's definitely
discussion, my friend. I'm glad you came on the podcast. Um, Hopefully I see you soon, man. I won't be at Junior Worlds. I don't got time off work and my day job to be able to commentate Junior Worlds anymore. So last one was 2022. Who knows,
um,
man? Maybe in the future, but I'll be at Open Worlds. I'll be at Sheffield. I'll be at when if you're are you gonna be around for the next Sheffield, do you think?
yeah, 100%, yeah, 100%, yeah.
Hit me up, man. We'll link up. I'll be around. I'll be out and about doing my damn thing. And we'll keep in contact in the DMs when we gotta do another podcast. We'll link up again, dude. This was an easy, we crushed 2 hours easy in this conversation.
You actually did, yeah, he did, didn't it?
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Is there do you have coaching or anything that people can get a hold of you for?
Just yeah, just chat me through my DMs on Instagram. There's all that stuff there. So yeah, it's all good. It's
Sounds
all
good.
on my page, my full name,
Well,
Joey
thank you
Wallace.
for coming on. Joey Shaw, right? Yeah. Thank you for coming on, my man, and much appreciated. And for everybody listening, as per usual, please do subscribe, give us high ratings, and until next time, six
Thank
pack
you.
Lapadat, six up, and we
In a
are out.
bit.